In case it wasn't clear from all the times I've documented the Wynyard Quarter and Motat lines in Auckland, and to a lesser extent the two lines in Christchurch, I've got a lot of time for preserved trams in New Zealand. One tram about which I have known for many years is Whanganui No. 12, also known as Mable, and although I've seen her at least twice in the past, it wasn't until January 2026 when I could finally record some footage of her in motion. In addition to the tram itself, I also saw an ex-London double-decker bus, of all things, during my time in Whanganui. If my research is correct, this bus is an AEC Regent III RT. Whanganui's tram network first opened in 1908, and at its peak had lines extending southwest to Gonville and Castlecliff and northeast to Whanganui East and Aotearoa. Tram number 12 was built by Boon & Company of Christchurch in 1912 and ran in service until the 1940s. After the Whanganui tram network closed in 1950, number 12's body was left near a beach in Castlecliff until 1960. When it was acquired by a man named Jack Ryder, who wanted to restore the tram. 40 years later, the tram was purchased by David Harry, who would go on to gift her to the city of Whanganui in 2005. After a long restoration project, tram number 12 finally returned to service in January 2012. Hard to believe that that's 14 years ago now. These days, she runs along a short demonstration line that only goes as far as the Paddle Steamer Museum. Speaking of which, I saw Waimarie at least twice while I was in Whanganui, although I didn't get a chance to see her rolling on a river. In addition to Mable No. 12, at least 3 other vehicles that used to run on Whanganui's tram system are also preserved. Perhaps the most unique one is Baldwin Steam Tram No. 100, which can be found at the Museum of Transport and Technology in Auckland. The museum is also restoring ex-Whanganui tram trailer No. 21, which will eventually be towed by Baldwin 100. A ticket to ride aboard Mable costs $5 for adults, or you can pay an extra $3 and get a combined tram and bus ticket. In my case, I was about to pay for the combination ticket until the tram guard unexpectedly said that I could ride free of charge. She must have seen my camera and realised I was a videographer. To be clear, I do not go around asking preservation groups for free rides on their trains, or in this case, a tram. And in the words of Heiss, never ask and never say no.
There's a nice coffee cart here and there's love ducks as well. So I'll come and tell you about Mable in a minute if you'd like to know more.
Can you do it in the corner so it doesn't go on the train? Or you can do it on this side? Yeah, there we go. Wonderful, thank you.
You're welcome.
What did she say? I've come there myself, I think. Still in charge of it. We will watch this. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, come on then. Just take it. And then what if it...
Now it's time to focus on RT 2592. I was both amazed and confused to see this bus. Amazed because I was reminded of the pair of double-deckers that I saw on display at the London Transport Museum, and confused because the sight of an ex-London bus running on the other side of the planet from her old home is quite bizarre indeed. If my research is correct, this bus was built in 1954 and came to New Zealand in 1972. She was initially used by the Wellington Lions Club as part of their fundraising efforts, but these days she is owned by a man named Neville Gorrie, apologies if I pronounced his surname wrong, and occasionally carries passengers around Whanganui. I have often seen the bus promoted on the Whanganui Tramway's Facebook page. As someone who is well accustomed to modern buses, in particular the Enviro 200s that run in Tauranga, I was thrown off by certain aspects of the Regent III RT's design, specifically the lack of stop buttons and the entrance being located at the rear, instead of up front. Another thing that caught me by surprise was the bus retaining authentic destination blinds from London. Initially, RT 2592 trundled along Taupō Quay until she turned right onto Victoria Avenue, the main street of Whanganui. Incidentally, I often get Victoria Avenue confused with Victoria Street in Hamilton, but regardless, riding aboard RT 2592 was an enjoyable experience. It was also interesting to see people on the street looking up at the bus in surprise as she trundled past. A little later on, the bus reached an intersection and turned right onto Dublin Street. She continued along the aforementioned street as far as the roundabout just before a bridge across the river, but instead of going across the bridge, as I initially thought she was going to do, she turned right and went along Somme Parade, which becomes Taupō Quay. This took us back around to the tram shed. At this point, it was getting close to 12 o'clock, and Mable had to stop running for the day as a concert was due to take place near the end of her line later that afternoon. I stuck around to see the tram shunting back into the shed, after which I made it back to the street just in time to see the bus driving away. As a bonus, I'll throw in some footage of a pair of traction engines that took part in the Vintage Weekend along with Mable and the bus. This footage was recorded on the evening of Saturday, January 17. This concludes my look at Mable, the Whanganui Tram, and RT 2592, the London bus, as they are in January 2026. Although the tram line is very short, it is still better than nothing, and I would recommend going for a tram ride yourself if you're ever in Whanganui on a Sunday afternoon.